I had to leave my job as an invigilator, an exams invigilator this was. Our marriage was suffering, but there was no doubt about it, he was really suffering.
I found that very moving, quite emotional actually, because those same things I'd seen Dave persevering with.
And I'd only been able to manage dots. My hand shook so that I couldn't draw a line, it was just dots.
For David, the change was extraordinary. In just minutes, his hand steadiness returned. He could draw a spiral for the first time in years, and the tremor that had dominated his life was gone.
I was genuinely amazed. I thought, this is absolutely extraordinary.
Hello, welcome to Queen Square in Focus. I'm Jodie Cooper, Chief Executive of QS Enterprises. In this series, we share the stories of patients whose lives have been transformed by the work we do here in Queen Square. Today, you'll hear from David, who lived with essential tremor for many years before seeking treatment with us. This is David's story.
My first experience was probably around about the year 2000. My work at Ford's was required some public speaking occasionally, and also I was in IT, and I did notice that the tremor started when I was under any particular stress. There were several episodes over the next couple of years, but none really sort of upset me. It was just I noticed. I thought, it's just one of those things. I was a bit stressed, and my hand started shaking. Just a minor. Didn't worry about it at all. In fact, I assumed it might be a trapped nerve, which is not a medical term, but that's what I thought it was, so I didn't worry about it at all. The first significant issue was around about 2016, when after we'd been to breakfast in a hotel, and I was carrying 2 coffees, and my hand, as I was walking across the room, my hand started shaking almost uncontrollably for no apparent reason. And I spilt coffee, to my great embarrassment, all over the restaurant floor, and I was most embarrassed about it. So it wasn't good. The next significant issue was at Twickenham Rugby Ground. When I went over there with some friends to watch a rugby match, I went to the bar. I bought 2 pints of Guinness, took it back to them, holding it above the crowd. My right hand started shaking, and I distributed a pint of Guinness all over various other spectators. It was seriously embarrassing. Fortunately, it didn't start a fight.
Essential tremor is one of the most common movement disorders, but it's often misunderstood. For some, it starts subtly, perhaps only under stress. But over time, the tremor can interfere with everyday activities, like writing or carrying drinks, eating, or even hobbies.
I've been retired actually since 2009, and I've focused on several hobbies, painting, photography, and playing piano. The tremor wasn't really noticeable in 2009, and I was able to pursue these activities without any particular concern. Although I did use a mile stick for painting and drawing, that's a hand steadying thing. After the coffee and the Guinness incidents, the condition worsened. I made excuses not to carry liquids and avoided pouring out drinks. My wife took over these tasks, and when attending buffet functions, she would have to help me get the food on my plate as my hand shook so much. She was helping me almost continually with small tasks, to my embarrassment and disappointment. Meal times were particularly stressful, and I frequently became angry at the table with sheer frustration at my inability to eat normally. Buttons, pills, zips, gardening, DIY repairs, they all became major challenges. Eating was a real problem, especially in restaurants, when my knife would rattle on the plate and bring unwelcome attention from people around me. I had to leave my job as an invigilator, an exams invigilator this was, as I was unable to write reports or write on the blackboards. I stopped painting and drawing and piano playing, and began using my left hand more, for shaving, using my camera, and I actually began seriously learning to write left-handed. I did notice alcohol reduced the shaking. Those were the sort of initial issues.
For David, these small frustrations grew into major barriers, affecting his independence and quality of life. And like many patients, it also affected his wife, who stepped in to take on tasks that Tremor made just too difficult.
As Dave said earlier, going out, if you go to a pub or restaurant, or not so much a restaurant, if you go to a pub and you're with friends or whatever, usually it's the man that goes up to the bar and orders a round of drinks or whatever. And I can remember particularly at a wedding, there was a group of 6 or 8 of us, and they took it in turns to go to the bar. But of course, there's no way Dave could. And at that time, we hadn't really told people much about it, if anything. And Dave did his best to sort of hide it as well. But of course, it's me that went up to the bar. He came up with me, I think, and then of course and it's me that brought the tray of drinks back. That's it. I mean, it didn't bother me, but it probably looked odd to other people, because that's not the general way of doing things, is it? If a man's there, the man usually takes charge of carrying a tray of drinks or whatever, food, everything. There was no point in if Dave wanted to have a sandwich, it just took him too long to make a sandwich.
For many patients, the first step is to speak with their GP and try medication. David was diagnosed with essential tremor and prescribed propranolol, followed by another drug, but the benefits were limited and the side effects difficult. Like so many, he was left searching for answers.
Obviously, this was getting a bit much now, so I thought I'd better speak to the doctor about it, and I did. I went to them, and they explained they sent me actually for a test for Parkinson's. I've had the test for Parkinson's, and I had several scans, and I was then diagnosed with essential tremor. I saw a specialist, and I was prescribed propranolol, which eased the symptoms very slightly for a little while. But the tremor worsened, and then I was prescribed another anti-epileptic drug. I can't remember what the name of it was, but that caused significant side effects. I didn't like that at all, and I stopped it very quickly. And obviously I reported this back to the doctor, and as a last resort, they suggested I go to a mental health therapist, which I did. And after my assessment, they concluded I was mentally a well-balanced individual. This was not really what I wanted to hear. It was literally ruining my life. I was hiding stuff and causing aggravation at home, and it was a very, very frustrating time. So all that time, I was looking mainly on the internet to see if there was any treatment. And the first one I came across was DBS, I think deep brain surgery or something. I can't remember what it, but the thought of having a hole in my head, quite frankly, was quite horrifying. Going along the same research routes, I came across the MRI-FUS, and I asked my GP about that, and she said she actually hadn't heard of it, but she did some research, and she said, "Oh yes, right, it is available on the NHS," and she referred me to Dr. Peter Bain, I think, and there was only one hospital, I think, in England that was actually doing that surgery. So I thought, oh, well, who knows? But then I was also aware that I was quite old, and that priority would obviously be given, or you'd think that would be given to younger people because of resources. Anyway, they referred me to Peter, and having been advised of a very long waiting list and no response from the NHS and the conditioning worsening, I was really getting fed up. And our marriage was suffering, but there was no doubt about it, it was really suffering. And then, being at that time quite a keen gardener, but not able to do any gardening because of the tremor, everything I touched that. I saw an advertisement in the Gardener, which is an advertisement from Queen Square, saying they would do this procedure.
It was during this search that David discovered MR-guided focused ultrasound. Unlike traditional brain surgery, this treatment is incisionless and far less invasive. After contacting us at Queen Square, he and his wife attended an assessment where they saw a powerful example. A patient who could suddenly drink a glass of water without shaking. That moment made a lasting impression. At Queen Square, every patient begins with a detailed consultation. Our specialists confirm the diagnosis, explain all possible treatment options, and assess whether focused ultrasound is suitable. For David, these conversations were reassuring. He described leaving each appointment with more confidence than before, knowing he was in safe hands.
I phoned up and made inquiries and went for an assessment. I spoke to Jodie and went through an assessment. And I went there with Yvonne. At the assessment, Yvonne was quite surprised at the severity of the tremor, because even at home, she saw occasionally the hand shaking and not being able to do things, but she wasn't. Even myself, I wasn't quite aware how bad it was until I did the assessment, because I was continually suppressing it physically some way or another. So when they said that I was a suitable candidate, I was extremely pleased. So I thought, oh, well, this, something could happen here. And then when I obviously looked into the procedure, I knew it wasn't intrusive or surgically intrusive anyway. So I thought this could be an answer. At that stage, we started to think seriously about having an operation on my brain. We were both very, very concerned about it. We went through various scenarios of what could happen and what might happen, and we also did some legal stuff as well, just in case it really was very bad. But having said all that, I looked at all the statistics for the procedure, and they were all good, and strongly in favour of a positive outcome. And the surgeons and technicians that I'd spoken to at Queen Square were very confident of success. But we were, as you can imagine, I was still very, very concerned about letting somebody loose on my brain. The decision was to go for it, and it couldn't really get anybody. It could get worse, but not a great deal worse than the life I was leading. I never came away from any of those assessments feeling it's getting dodgier than I thought it might be. But that never happened. I always came away feeling it was a risk worth taking.
One of the assessments we went to, we were shown a video of a lady that had had it done as well, and the test of the spiral, and then holding a glass of water or paper cup or whatever it was. She obviously kindly allowed that to be shown to possible candidates, if you like, and I found that very moving, quite emotional actually, because those same things I'd seen Dave persevering with, and not too well, and also seeing her outcome that quickly. I'm not saying that convinced us definitely, but I was worried. Of course, I was worried, but it was nice to see that as a positive outcome. So it did help us come to that conclusion as well. Well, it certainly helps me come to that conclusion.
MR-guided focused ultrasound is a pioneering technique. Thousands of ultrasound waves are directed with pinpoint accuracy, guided by real-time MR imaging, to target the exact part of the brain causing the tremor, all without a single incision. The procedure is really safe, it's well tolerated, and the results can often be seen immediately.
I was apprehensive, obviously, but fairly confident. Because of the assessments and the conversations I'd had with everybody up there, I was feeling reasonably confident. The treatment itself, I couldn't really describe it. It seemed almost uneventful. I knew exactly what to expect because they told me. The helmet that I wore for cooling the brain was different, and that was probably the only sort of relatively uncomfortable part when they sort of screwed that into my head. Well, not into my head, but around my head. That was quite
tightened around your head.
Yes, tightened. But then I was put inside the scanner. I was informed quite regularly exactly what was happening, which was quite good, and most of it was photography, I think. Then obviously the treatment started in stages, and the technicians were checking my cognitive reactions, asking me to say the months of the year backwards and all that sort of stuff, and that was very encouraging because I could still do it, and it was a long time. It seemed like a very long time in the scanner, The only feeling of discomfort was when they did the very final part of the procedure, when I felt I was tipping backwards and backwards and backwards inside the scanner. And then it was over.
For David, the change was extraordinary. In just minutes, his hand steadiness returned. He could draw a spiral for the first time in years, and the tremor that had dominated his life was gone.
Within a few moments, a lady asked me to draw a spiral. And I'd obviously had this spiral test many, many times. And I'd only been able to manage dots. My hand shook so that I couldn't draw a line. It was just dots. And I was able to draw a spiral. I was genuinely amazed. I thought, this is absolutely extraordinary. And well, I had a big grin on my face. I was a very, very happy man then.
This simple act of lifting a glass of water may not seem remarkable to some, but for patients with essential tremor, it represents freedom. For David, it was a moment of joy, relief, and disbelief all at once.
Over the next few days, few weeks, I kept a diary, my own diary, of the symptoms and how they were progressing and how they were easing and things that were changing. After, 6 weeks, I stopped keeping the diary because I felt that I was perfectly okay. It was quite amazing.
This is how I have been drinking a glass of water, so cheers. And this is now how I can drink a glass of water. Which is a double cheers. I can also hold 2 glasses at once. So,
Can you put some in it? In the other one? Right.
that little lecture would have soaked the kitchen and Yvonne and me. So another bit of wonderful news. Here I am putting the jacket on once again. It was a really, really difficult issue putting it on because it suddenly started raining. And you need to get the jacket on a bit sharpish. And of course I can't do up the zip, or I couldn't do up the zip. So I can get it in the section at the bottom. And hopefully I'll be able to do it. Yeah, quickly. And there it is. It's all gone in. And a nice drive. Again, is a wonderful thing. And all this is after just 48 hours since I've had the treatment. But it's all absolutely wonderful. Right, first of all, I'll do the spiral. With my right hand.
You're not leaning, are you?
No. And I'll do my signature. And do some block letters. That's how my signature used to be. So, that's it. That's pretty damn good. I haven't been able to write with my right hand, make a note of anything for at least 3 or 4 years. And my writing will get better, I'm sure, since I haven't been able to use it. So, but there's no sign of or very little sign of a tremor there. Oh, this is a big improvement.
Right-handed. Never been seen for years.
Yes. A small miracle.
In the days and weeks that followed, David noticed his balance gradually improve, thanks to the careful aftercare of the team. But the biggest change was in the return of everyday life. He could write again, eat comfortably in public, and pick up hobbies he had abandoned. Just as importantly, his confidence and independence came back, and with it, a calmer, happier home.
Specifically, it was again pouring out drinks, because those are the things that have impacted me most. Even now, if I pick up a glass, I hesitate for a few seconds. There's no tremor, but bringing it up to my face, I think I had the tremor for so long But I'd lost confidence, and I still feel a bit uncomfortable doing it now. But there is no tremor. It's just a question of me getting confidence back into my hand. I'll go so far as to say it has actually given me back my life. And most importantly, that through Yvonne. Because I know she really did go through it with my abuse and anger and various other horrible things. I'm happy to eat in public now. I can literally perform hundreds of tasks now that I couldn't do before. I could spend all day taking things that I can do now that I couldn't do before.
Or electrical flat plugs.
Yeah, plugs. I know, and the list is endless. My hobbies that I had are now doable, and my friends and family are quite amazed. I frequently mention, because I showed them those videos, and they were quite astonished at the change. And they also didn't realise, once again, how bad it had been, because I had hidden it quite successfully. Before treatment, I was slowly becoming almost reclusive. Tremor, though, but apparently I hid the symptoms quite well, and even joked about them. It was shaking Dave, with the family, and it was a joke, but it wasn't a very funny joke, really. And it became the dominant feature of my life. I was unhappy, and often depressed, and frequently bad-tempered and frustrated. I now know, I knew then, that there were lots of people who were suffering with exactly the same as I have with essential tremor. And all I can say now is I would wholeheartedly recommend investigating the treatment. Anyone who's got this, to investigate the treatment initially, and having become familiar with the process, as I did, to go ahead with an assessment and a subsequent procedure. I can finally say the results are truly amazing, and I cannot thank enough all the staff, doctors, nurses and technicians at Queen Square who are bored about this literal miracle of technology.
David describes the treatment as giving him his life back. His story is a powerful reminder of what is possible when innovation and expertise come together in the right way. At Queen Square, we are proud to offer life-changing treatments like this, delivered with compassion, precision and care. Our thanks to David and his wife for sharing their journey, and thanks to you for listening to Queen Square in Focus.